Okay, welcome back to Daily Driven Alpha. Quick update. We've put some paint on the scuttle panel. We've redone the boot lid. The bonnet's come up really nice, still needs more paint on it. These are all going to get wet sanded down. We're doing this just to get a sense of whether all our prep was right. And that looks pretty good. The doors came out really nicely. However, in my impatience to lift a couple of low spots on the doors before I painted, I was tapping them from below, and there's a bit of light filler in this section here of the door, and it cracked. So when we painted, you could see the cracks come through the paint. So we've had to chase all those cracks out. We've put some light filler in, and we'll sand that back, and then we'll sand the doors down again. And then they'll be ready for paint in the paint booth. But really what we were looking to achieve here was just to have a look at how straight the doors were after we've done all the body work on them. Have a look at the door handles, see how they fit, and just get a sense of the lines of the doors themselves. Store handle, these are old ones, we're just using them for trial fitting. It's fallen in beautifully. This one here is binding up a little bit. Now we can clamp that down using the internals of the door handle, but we'll have a look at that and see why that is. That should fall into place like this one really easily, so we shouldn't have those issues. So this one goes in really easily. Just put that leading edge in first, and then it just drops in, and as you can see, the lines are nice. Some people get those rubber door gaskets from classic Alfa and put them under here. We're not doing that. That's not how they came out of the factory. So it's the same on my daily driver. So anyway, that's where that's at. We'll let this go off, let that set up for a day or so, then we'll come back, sand all this down, and then we're going to wet sand all these panels down by hand and get them ready for the paint booth. There were a couple of issues while we were painting, a couple of sweat drops on them, but overall come up really nicely. Still got to paint underneath the scuttle panel, still sitting in primer, as you can see, but overall that's straight out of the gun. We've painted this outside. We have not painted this in a booth, and it's laid down really nicely. We've used a slower thinners so that it doesn't go off so quickly, and that allows the paint to flatten out a little bit more. But you know, you could almost get away with that without doing too much to it, but we'll actually wet sand that down, and as with the whole car. So we're thinking we're pretty clever, apart from some of those little mistakes, and we thought, well, we're pretty close, ready for paint. The rest of the car's looking pretty good. It's in primer. We thought maybe we just need to wet sand it down. Everything was looking pretty straight, pretty happy with it. You know, we've checked as much as we thought we needed to, and then what I did was said, well, let's just get a block onto it and let's just check. So we've taken a slightly curved block with some dry 240 grit paper, and we've started to sand, and as you can see, there have been high and low spots appearing all over the place. And here's a classic down here where we thought we were okay. Look at these big low spots. Now we're not going to be able to sand our way out of there because we're already hitting the steel here, so we're going to have to put some light filler in here and rework that. but you can see through, went through to steel there was a high spot there, but what we've done is we've actually reworked this high build primer until we have a glass smooth finish. Now you can see with the bits of tape etc we've just marked it up, but there's a little low spot right on the ridge and I can't get in behind there to tap that forward, so that's going to need a little bit of filler. If you don't do that, what will happen is when you spray the car and in the light when you walk along it and you look at the lines, you will see all these little dimples and low spots. So even if you think you're ready for paint, go back over it lightly and have a look and you'll find all sorts of little pieces. There's another one right there that I've got to get to. There's a little bit of filler that needs a little dimple that needs filling. Now I don't know if you can see the roof. I've started on the roof and we spent a lot of time on this roof and I thought we had it right, but look at this. All of those darker patches and blemishes are low spots. Right, so you can see right here at the leading edge there's a low spot there. Now I can't tap that up from below because there's a frame below it, so I can't sand this down any further, so we're going to have to just slightly glaze that and then go over and oops, I'll just get up here. So that gives you an idea of all the areas that need finessing. If you leave it like that and you spray paint, you'll start to see that the minute you get out into the sun and you walk back from the car and look, you'll see all these little areas reflecting back at you. So preparation, body prep is key. Painting is the fun part, but if you don't have the body prep right, you're going to have issues. So there we have it. Still going. We were hoping to get this into a booth this week to paint, but I don't think that's going to happen. We've got a lot more work to go yet, and we're happy though with the engine bay. The paint laid down beautifully in here, so that's come up nice. Got a couple of places. I always use a little bit of tape, just whenever I find something I whack it on there because you'll forget for sure. So bits of tape around, draw your eye, remind you what needs doing. So there's a fair bit of work to go yet on the car, as you can see, but having done all this, it's coming out really smooth. You can almost, it feels like glass. The only issue is that you can see with the coarser grit sandpaper, the scratches do go into the high build primer. So we'll need to spend a fair bit of time with 400 and 600 grit wet and dry, sanding this to try and flatten out those scratches. If you don't do that, they'll start to reflect through in your paintwork, and that'll be hard for you to recover. So take the time and get it right. That way you'll get the results. If you don't, as you saw with the doors, you end up reworking after you've put paint on, which is not ideal. Anyway, that's where we're at. Quick update from Daily Driven Alpha. Hope you're enjoying the post. Hope your projects are going well. Please like, subscribe, share these with others that may be interested, and happy to receive your comments and keep them respectful. Hope your projects are going well. Thanks for watching.